Good morning. You want to hear a scary story?
Welcome to Eerie, Enigma, where the night attracts spooky clips from TikTok, where the mystery acts, chilling tales of haunting, shadows dance inside. Join us as we explore the paranormal fright. In the stillness of the night, whispers call your name.
Subscribe, like, and share.
Merry Christmas, everyone! We are back with even more spooky Christmas tales, ghosts caught on camera, and myths from around the world. So get comfy, grab your favorite snack, enjoy, and stay eerie.
If you've ever wondered why my Creole grandmother hated Christmas Eve, she used to say that it was the one night that the dead remembered your address. She grew up near the bayou in a tiny Louisiana house, walking home from midnight mass alone. No radio, no TV, just crickets and the swamp breathing outside her window. And then 3 sharp knocks. Knock, knock, knock. In our family, 3 knocks means a death visit from someone who passed that year, and they've come back to say that they're not done yet. She opened it. She opened the door, and the cold air rushed in, and it whispered her brother's name, who had died earlier that summer from drowning. When she slammed the door, a wet handprint smeared down the wood, like something had dragged its fingers on the way back in. Terrified, she clutched her rosary and whispered, "Don't hurt me, my brother." And the handprint faded. But the house, it didn't feel empty anymore. The next morning, every mirror in the house was fogged from the inside, like someone had been standing there all night, breathing, watching. And now, every year on Christmas Eve at 11:59, she swears that she still hears those 3 gentle knocks. Knock, knock, knock. And no matter where she is, now she never opens the door. People say Christmas is for family, but nobody ever says which side. So if you hear 3 knocks at your door tonight, don't answer. If they love you, they'll already be inside. Stay spooky. All right, and if you haven't yet, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good things, all right? See you guys very soon. Stay spooky.
Good morning. You want to hear a scary story? So back in the day, I used to babysit for a family that's house was extremely haunted. 2 girls, the oldest one I call Luna, the youngest one I call Aura for privacy purposes. Now, I've told an Elf on the Shelf video before about this home with these girls. This is another Elf on the Shelf video in honor of Christmas. And this is actually an entirely different year than the last story I told about Elf on the Shelf. Like, this is a different Christmas, a different year. So the mom had asked me, hey, like, can you hide the Elf on the Shelf tonight, like, when they go to bed? Because I was basically staying overnight. I was staying until 5 a.m. because the parents worked very crazy hours, right? And I was like, sure, no problem. Even though I hated that thing and it was so scary to me, I was like, it's fine, I'll do it. She was like, okay, I just have this idea, so make sure you do this idea for me. And basically, the mom put cinnamon in her coffee every day. And so she was like, if you can just take the cinnamon and, make little elf footprints in it and put it on the counter next to the coffee machine and then have it like holding on to an empty cup of coffee. I was like, oh, that's cute, no worries, I can do that. And this particular night, things were going smooth. Surprisingly, there was no interactions with Pete, who was the oldest daughter's imaginary friend, who was actually not an imaginary friend. I had no interactions with Pete, with Bathsheba, with nothing, right? It's like, great, this is going to be a nice, easy day. I'm scaring myself telling this story right now because I'm at work, but it's still dark outside and nobody's in here, so... Anyways, show must go on. So the girls end up going to bed, right? And I've talked about this before, but if I was like spending the night with them, we would have like most of the times sleepover parties in the living room, and we would all sleep, like me and the girls would sleep on the couch together because there was like a big long sectional, and so they would be on, you know, like one end of it and then I would be on the other end. But I just like this all to be close because of the interactions, like the most I could. And the parents always like let it slide when I had to stay that late, basically into the next morning. Like they didn't really argue with it too much because the girls were still sleeping, you know. So the girls had fallen asleep on the couch, and the kitchen was basically in the same room as like the living room, just a big open space, you know what I mean? And the girls passed out, fell asleep, had packed their lunch, or I think it was just Luna's lunch at the time, I can't remember, done all their stuff they needed for school the next morning. Because basically when, you know, like mom or dad came home to relieve me, I think it was dad in this instance, like he would be the one to like take them to school. I would go home at like 5 a.m. So sometimes I take them to school, but not this particular day. So they're sleeping on the couch, and I'm getting everything ready. And I am very proud of myself, right? I'm doing the elf on the shelf exactly how she wanted. I'm, you know, tucking its little feet into like the cinnamon. I'm putting it all over the counter, and I'm like trying to make like little cinnamon footsteps. I made it work, and it was really cute. Set it next to the coffee cup. Of course, when I start doing elf on the shelf though, everything was normal all night, right? Things start feeling uneasy, and the girls are sleeping. Even though I can see them, I begin to get that horrible god-awful feeling of like something's watching me. And when I was trying to set the elf on the shelf to like look like he was, you know, his little hand was like him leaned against the coffee cup, it kept falling down, which I get, it's a flimsy elf on the shelf, but I was like, this is so weird because like I'm setting its whole body basically up against this coffee cup and it's just not sticking. Like, this is very odd. So I'm trying to figure it out, and then from behind me, like behind the living room, is parents' room, right? It's pretty dark in here at this point because, again, the girls were sleeping. I was exhausted this night. I remember, like, I couldn't wait, and also I haven't had many, you know, nothing bad happened, so I felt okay to sleep. Normally it was kind of hard to sleep in this house, but I was exhausted. I'm in high school still at this point, you know? So I couldn't wait to go to bed. I'm tired. So dim lights. And all of a sudden I come from, like, the parents' room. I hear, it sounded like scratching, like. I'm like, God damn, dude. Like, can I literally ever have one day over here where I am not being tormented? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to ignore it today. I was exhausted, and I was, like, very creeped out because I felt like I was just being watched. And it sounded like nails scratching on something. But I was a little bit numb to it at this point. Like, stuff happened every time I came over to this house. So I'm like, F this. I'm ignoring it. I'm not even going to pay any mind to it. And then I lay down, you know, and I didn't even go investigate no, I'm done, okay? I'm done investigating. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to get feed into this. I'm not going to pay any attention. So I get on the couch with my blanket and my pillow, check on the girls, like right on the other side of the sectional. They're okay. We're all like close together, you know what I mean? Like on this sectional, like I can see them and we're very close. So I'm like, great, like, you know, they're asleep. I remember I plugged my phone into like an extension cord of a charger, and I like put the blanket over my head and I go to sleep. I wake up at some point in the middle of the night. Don't know what time it is. Look over at my phone and it's dead. It's unplugged from the charger that was plugged into the extension cord, and I freaking knew I plugged my phone in, and I hadn't rolled over it or anything. Like the way I positioned my phone behind my head, it didn't make sense, right? So I wake up and my phone's dead, and I just feel very, very uneasy. And I look over and I see Luna is sitting up, and it scared me half to death. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you know, she pops up and I'm like, oh. It's like, Luna, like, what are you doing awake? And she was like, Riley, I'm so sorry. Like, the poor elf can't ever just do what he wants. I'm like, what do you mean the elf can't do what he wants? And I look over into the kitchen. Can't really see much. It's dark, right? So I'm like, here we go. I get up and I turn the lights on. Like, this is what I would do when stuff would happen. Lights. Every light would go on in the house, right? I did not, especially towards like this point, I was done playing with stuff. So I'm turning on every light, and Aura, the younger one, is still sleeping through this. And the cinnamon that like I had literally put away and shut was knocked over on the kitchen floor, and it was everywhere. It looked like it was thrown open. And remember I told you like little not paw prints, but the elf on the shelf, like little feet things I was trying to do, the footsteps. There is like a claw mark like this, and it's like dragged through the cinnamon, like through the little tracks that I had made. And I don't know where Elf went. I was like, Luna, babe, like, are you messing with me? Like, this is really not funny. And I think I actually started crying because I was so overwhelmed and tired. Like, guys, I worked for this family all the time, and I also had 2 other jobs at the time, and I was in high school, so I am exhausted. Like, I just need a fucking break. And I just remember I fell asleep with the kitchen light on. I was like, you know, Luna, it's okay, babe. Like, we'll figure it out. We'll find Elf tomorrow. And I get woken up like a couple hours later. I don't even know what time it was. I remember I replugged my phone in, but I was too afraid to look at the clock in case it was like 3 a.m. or something. And I get woken up a couple hours later by the parent. Their dad gets home, and he, you know, lightly kind of like taps me. He's like, hey, Riley, like, good morning. Like, you're good to go. I'm here now. And he's like, hey, can I just ask you one thing? Where's the elf? And if you watch my stories, you know the parents literally don't believe in any of this, and they're believing the whole time. So I never even tried to explain anything towards the end. I was like, I don't know. I did the plan that mom wanted and asked me to do, and I woke up and it's not here. Maybe I don't know. He was like, oh, okay, like, we'll find it. They ended up finding the elf, like, a few days later, underneath Luna's bed in her room that's across the house. And I know for a damn fact it was not Luna, because Luna admitted to the stuff she did, A. And B, it just didn't make any sense, because Luna was scared when we both woke up that night, and she was like, I'm sorry about, you know, the elf. It's not Luna. And I asked her about it next time I was over there. I was like, did you, you know, like, move? You can be honest with me. And she was like, no, Riley, like, that wasn't me. I didn't take the elf. I don't like the elf. So that's all I ever know. Bye.
I was just getting ready for work, and I freaking saw something in my bathroom that scared the freaking shit out of me. I don't know what it was, but it looked like a ghost. Like, literally, I think I just saw a ghost. I want to get out of here. I want to get out of my house. I'm so scared.
You were just trying to pee and it chose violence. Girl, get out of there.
It was like right there where those shadows are. Those are shadows from the towel right there. But there was like a shadow right there where those other shadows are. And it looked like a person. It looked like a ghost. Like right there. Oh shit. Holy fuck!
Things I bet you didn't know were demonic or witchcraft, part 32. Y'all was really in my comments when I did the Halloween video talking about I bet she ain't gonna do Christmas. I bet she ain't gonna do Christmas. And here we are. As a Christmas girly who absolutely loves all the traditions of Christmas, the Holy Spirit has convicted me this year. And you know, we are no longer putting up a Christmas tree. If you ain't seen the Christmas tree video, go ahead and go check out that video. And we are not rocking with Santa. But the funny thing is, y'all, growing up in a West African household, my family let me know that Santa wasn't real young, okay? Real young. I'm talking about I was in kindergarten and first grade telling the kids how Santa was not real. My teachers were pissed. And though we used to put up a Christmas tree, I really do respect it because, yeah, why do Satan and Santa have the same letters in it? These people really be playing in our face. So let's get into it. First and foremost, y'all, the whole concept of Santa is wild, okay? Big fat man coming down your chimney to give gifts to your kids, and you leave him the milk and cookies, and he knows everything. He's omnipotent or omnipresent like God. Like, the whole story is a little... But as I was doing my research, y'all, it is said that Santa is based off of the false god Odin. And as you can see in the pictures depict a very similar, like, altar-like state. They had the same type of beard and everything. And so in my last video, I talked a little bit about Odin and how during the winter solstice, a lot of the things that they did, like putting up the tree and all these things, were worship onto him. In ancient traditional paganism, y'all, people believed that spirits were able to travel in and out of your home through your chimney. Very similar to the belief of Santa coming down your chimney. In these pagan rituals, y'all, they always had to leave a sacrifice to their lowercase g gods, or the spirits. So they would leave treats like cookies and milk for an offering onto these spirits. In exchange, they believed that the spirits would leave them blessings and take away curses. And so we all know that witches and warlocks love to get pieces of your clothing, your shoes, your socks, your underwear, all these things to do rituals on you. And so leaving up stockings was another measure of a ritual for, you know, the good spirits to come and leave gifts. I now want us to get into the crazy similarities between Odin and Santa. Odin was believed to travel the earth once a year on an 8-legged horse, similar to how Satan will travel the earth with 8 reindeers. Odin would go out with his little helpers, also known as Krampus. If you haven't seen my video about Krampus, go watch that video and come back. Krampus are similar to what we recognize today as elves that help Santa. The Krampus helped Odin. And so Odin and his Krampus would go out once a year, y'all, and they were hunting children. If they left sacrifices to him, like milk and cookies and all these things, he might let them be okay. But if he wasn't feeling like, he go ahead, he snatch them, drag them to hell. Another thing I found while doing my research, y'all, is that the devil used to be referred as in Scandinavian and German folklore as Old Nick. That was a nickname for the devil. And guess what we call Santa? Old Saint Nick. My gosh. If these people don't be playing right in our face. And lastly, I know you're probably wondering, why do Santa be saying ho, ho, ho? And it was believed back in medieval times, y'all, that whenever the devil would walk into a place and announce himself, he would announce himself by saying ho, ho, ho. My gosh. When you really start getting down to the origin of things, y'all, we really begin to see how the enemy plays on our ignorance. Because ain't no way y'all be putting Santa in front of your house, be having your kids go sit on a stranger lap, and you don't even know why you doing it for real. This is crazy. And lastly, I want to talk about this new movie called Dear Santa. Let me show y'all a clip.
A letter to Santa. Dear Santa. This letter ends up going to Satan, not Santa.
Okay, I'm safe. You got me.
Jack is an incredible actor.
Ho, frickin' ho.
It's so funny to me, the subliminals that Hollywood be putting in the shows and the movies, y'all. Because why would they have him transform from Satan to Santa like that? They be telling us all the tea. But in this movie, y'all, apparently the kid tries to write a letter to Santa. He accidentally spells it Satan. And Satan comes and begins to grant him his wishes. And as we all know as Christians, y'all, Satan ain't gonna give you nothing for free. He gives and he takes away. He takes your soul. Apparently, this movie was released for the holidays, y'all. And all I know is, parents, your kids do not need to be watching this movie. I promise y'all that Jesus did not die on the cross for this, okay? Let me know in the comments what holidays y'all want me to do next.
Welcome to my 12 days of creepy creature Christmas, where we talk about some Christmas creatures that aren't very merry. We have made it to day 10 and are finally, I think, entering familiar territory. Today, we are talking about Belsnickel. In the cold folklore of German forests, we meet a Christmas visitor who does not bring joy freely. When the winters were linked to survival, the early German beliefs of wild winter spirits spoke of a household guardian who would appear. These spirits were known to roam between villages during the winter time to enforce social norms and punishing any disorder. And during the 14th century is when we see Belsnickel appear, and he officially became a Christmas creature, very closely linked to St. Nicholas, although not for being benevolent and generous, but for being more severe and disciplinary. A rough translation for Belsnickel actually means Nicholas in skins, because Belsnickel is a rougher, more untamed embodiment of judgment, rather than St. Nick's saintly mercy. Belsnickel's association with Christmas can be traced back to the Advent, when the winter time was a time for restraint and moral preparation rather than celebration. Belsnickel was said to appear around this time to ensure that he was reinforcing proper behavior in children. And in the 18th to 19th centuries is when we see Belsnickel appear in North America with German immigrants, and officially became a Christmas figure among mainly the Pennsylvania Dutch communities. And this is his folklore. During the Advent season, when the nights are cold and long, you might hear the sound of heavy footsteps or knocks on your door. Traveling from village to village and home to home, Belsnickel can be seen in ragged furs and tattered clothes. He appears wild and unkempt, as if he spent the rest of his year among the trees and dirt in the deep dark forests. His face is often dirty, caked in soot or ash, but it might be hard to tell because of his hood, which is always pulled down low over his face. And he carries a peculiar item, a switch or a whip, and a sack of treats and punishments. Don't worry, I didn't forget my visual learners. Here are a few depictions I was able to find online. If you happen to open the door and let Belsnickel in, you'll notice a change in the air. He is not there to bring comfort and joy. He's meant to bring unease. A series of questions will fall from his lips, and he expects a truthful answer. Have you been obedient and honest? Have you been hardworking and helpful? Belsnickel is even known to provoke your children by dropping sweets on the floor and seeing if they go to grab for them without asking. If he decides you have been good this past year, he will reward you with fruits, treats, bread. But if you are unlucky enough to be deemed unworthy of a treat, he has another thing for you entirely. Belsnickel will don his switch or whip and deliver blows to the naughty children's legs. And that's only if he decides he doesn't want to pluck you up and take you from your home entirely back to the deep dark forest. See, Belsnickel is meant to keep moral order. This is the most important time of the year for you to ensure that you're being obedient. Your survival depends on it during the harsh, cold winter. Today, Belsnickel, although has softened up over the years, is still a figure who is not meant to bring comfort, but to judge and demand accountability.
If you want me to keep the Christmas lights on, go up. Okay. If you want me to keep the Christmas lights on, you're going to have to make this device go the whole way up to red, which means you're going to have to come up really close to it. Okay. Thank you. So I'll keep the Christmas lights on for you.
Want to get creeped out? Let's talk about the Yule cat, also known as the jólakötturinn, which I will only be saying that one time. This is one of Iceland's most feared Christmas folklore creatures. It is described as a black cat the size of a house, which adorable, I love it. Allegedly, this cat roams the Icelandic countryside on Christmas Eve. It attacks and nom-noms any children who do not wear at least one piece of new clothing. So basically, if children behave well, they should be getting new clothing for Christmas. If they misbehave, they're not getting any new clothing and the cat's gonna eat them. A horrific and ghastly punishment, because new clothing is the only protection from the Yule cat. Now, this cat is said to be the pet of Grýa, a terrifying story. Scarier than Krampus, so I'll get into that in the next video. The Yule cat is known for hating mice, hunting people, and bringing immediate fear when its meow is heard. The Yule cat is similar to the cat She from older Celtic legends. The cat She was said to trap human souls during their transition to the afterlife. The cat She is also described as a witch in animal form. I love witches though. Let's stop demonizing witches. But our fear of witches is kind of where this whole fear or superstition of black cats came from. It was believed that witches could turn into black cats, and then at night they would prowl and hide in the shadows. By the Middle Ages, cats were very much associated with paganism, witchcraft, and the devil. The Yule cat also encouraged people to work harder so that they could afford new clothing, and it motivated productivity during long, cold, hard winters. Let's talk about Grýa.
Weird spooky Christmas stories. I came across this on Reddit. They'd been at a friend's house on Christmas Eve. It was already 4 a.m. Christmas Day, and he and a friend were walking down the street on the way home. He said that the streetlights had just flickered on after having been off all night. He said it was quiet, too quiet. He said they were walking for maybe 2 minutes. They turned onto a dead-end road that slopes down a hill, and that there is only one way out of that street. And he noticed a group of people standing about 50 meters ahead. 5 people, 2 children, 2 adults, and 1 elderly woman. He said it seemed like a family with their parents and the grandma. He said they were all just standing under a streetlight at 4 a.m. Christmas Day. He said he thought it was strange, but nothing impossible. He said that as he and his friend began walking closer to them, something about the family became increasingly strange. They were all wearing the exact same color palette: white shirt, beige pants, beige dress. Their faces were unnerving because they were extremely pale, they looked sickly, they had sunken in eyes, and he said that they had dark circles under them as well. He said none of them spoke to him and none of them moved. They just sat there staring at them as they walked by like this. His friend, who was a woman, became visibly terrified. He said he pulled her closer, they picked up the pace, but he said that the feeling was only growing. Out of nowhere, a stone flew in front of them and hit the pavement. They both jumped and his friend began to panic. He spun around ready to confront them and they were gone. He said that they just completely vanished. He said that they were standing there seconds before and that on that dead-end road there was nowhere for them to go. He said to have gotten off that road they would have had to slip past them. So now fully terrified, they started running. He said the road takes about 10 minutes from end to end to get where he was going and they are about 6 minutes into their walk. Every few steps they looked behind them expecting to see something. When they finally reached the end of the road, they turned back and there was still nothing. And then the streetlights went out. He said for about 20 seconds they just stood in total darkness, except for the faint light of a bus stop up ahead. And as their eyes adjusted, they saw them again. The same 5 figures. 2 children, 2 adults, 1 elderly woman. Just standing silently at the bus stop, staring. But there was nowhere else to go. He said he tried calling a friend for help, but apparently their phone was dead. His friend started crying because she was so terrified. He said he was scared too, but he pushed it into anger. He said he started marching toward the group of people ready to confront them. Then the streetlights suddenly snapped back on. He said he flinched, grabbed his friend, and as he started walking towards the bus stop, they were gone again. He said that he can still remember their faces perfectly. The hollow eyes, the matching clothes, the way they stared at them. He said this all happened Christmas morning at 4 a.m. He said neither him or his friend have been able to shake it. Whenever they tell people, their friends just say, "Oh, your mind was playing tricks on you because of the dark." He said that it didn't feel like a trick to him and that he still has nightmares about it. Almost every single night. He says that he just cannot explain how those people disappeared twice with no sound. This was such a good story. I've heard of people encountering things like this, and a lot of people are wondering if this is something demonic, if there's some type of like veil thinning and you're seeing something from like another dimension or from like the other side. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, or if any of you have ever heard or seen anything like this, send me your story.
So when I was younger, I had an obsession with Christmas lights. I was around 6 at the time of this story. I was messing around with the Christmas lights because my parents were home. I was an idiot and I was taking them off the tree and wrapping them around me. I remember my panic when I realized I was stuck and I couldn't get them off. I panicked even more when I realized that they were wrapped around my neck. I remember spinning around trying to get them off, but then they were still plugged in, and of course my idiot self started spinning the wrong way, which caused the lights to get tightened. I remember the feeling of not being able to I remember the feeling of not being able to breathe, the panic and crying as I was desperately trying to get out of the lights. I remember I was about to pass out when all of a sudden someone was taking the lights off of me. I knew my parents weren't home still because I haven't heard the front door open or close.
It's a Christmas miracle, dude.
It's a Christmas miracle. As soon as the lights were off, I could breathe again. I looked at the person. It was a lady with black hair and green eyes, and she looked about 16. I remember her leaving though through the back door before my parents got home.
What?
Years later, I found out it was my neighbor's daughter. For years, I thought it was a ghost. Anyways, that's all I got for you.
Fucking idiot, dude.
Bro was himself and thought it was a ghost. I saved him. It was a fucking a real ass person. Imagine her point of view walking in the house like this motherfucker saw with Christmas lights.
What the freak was that? Oh my god! What the freak was that?
Italy has a Christmas legend about a wandering witch named La Befana, and her story is heartbreaking. La Befana is said to fly through the night on a broomstick during the Christmas season, stopping at homes while the world is asleep. She leaves gifts for the good kids and coal for the misbehaving. But she's not evil. She's searching. Legend says she once turned away the 3 wise men. When regret set in, she searched endlessly for the child she believed was Christ. So every winter she wanders from home to home, hoping one of the children she visits is the one she lost. That's why some say if you hear footsteps on the roof at night, it's not Santa, it's La Befana, still searching. Would you leave her an offering? Milk and cookies? Come back tomorrow night. Another dark Christmas legend drops. Every night until Christmas. Till next video, stay curious, friends.
Looking for a scare this Christmas? Yes, it's the most wonderful time of the year, but there are definitely spooky things afoot this festive holiday season. Let's talk about the Kallikantzaroi, a malevolent creature in Greek folklore. Apologies in advance for any mispronunciations. Their appearance varies. Sometimes they're said to be large and other times they're small. They may be covered in hair with red eyes, donkey ears, and a tongue that hangs out, and beastly limbs or paws. They're almost always male, and trust me, according to the descriptions, you can tell. All accounts can agree that they're pretty ugly goblins or devils with horns and long tails. Believed to dwell underground, spending most of their time trying to saw down the giant tree that supports the earth, with their end goal being the total destruction of the earth, they're interrupted by the coming of Christmas, and they surface during the 12 days of Christmas. This is between December 25th and January 6th. They forget all about the tree, abandon the apocalypse, and come down to wreak havoc on your holiday instead. Much like Santa Claus, they come down your chimney, but they don't bring you presents, they piss all over your fireplace. They break your furniture, eat all your food, kidnap the children, especially those born on Christmas Day, throw your flour all around, and all in all, just destroy your entire house. Although they usually subsist on snakes, worms, and frogs, they love sugar, which makes this an especially fitting time of year for them to emerge. In fact, many people try to leave some sweet treats around their homes to placate them and convince them to spare their homes. They're also really big fans of pork. According to lore from the mid-17th century, they'd roam around slashing victims with their sharp claws. They'd sit down with their victims and ask them tow, which is a clump of hemp fiber, or lead. If they answer tow, their lives are spared, but if they go with lead, they end up crushed by some super heavy weight and are beaten half to death. Now you can protect yourself should you run into Kallikantzaroi during the holiday season. Leave out a colander to distract it because it'll have to count the holes. It'll only be able to get up to the number 3 because it can't pronounce 3 since it's a holy number. This will cause it to keep starting over, and it will never be able to get back to destroying your stuff, or worse, killing you. Another version of this is leaving out a clump of tangled hemp, and the Kallikantzaroi will end up counting the threads until the sun comes up and, much like a vampire, destroys it. So make sure you lock your doors, put your colander out, and steer clear of the Kallikantzaroi. And if it asks you tow or lead, make sure you answer correctly. Or it may be the last thing you do this Christmas.
Hey, you want to hear a spooky Christmas story? So there's this couple. They're in the living room, and they're having a Harry Potter marathon. They do this every year, and while Harry is getting his shit rocked in Quidditch, they hear Christmas caroling coming from outside their house, from children. Now, it's pleasant, and normally this is fine, but 2 things. 1, it is snowing something awful outside, and 2, it's like 1 a.m. in the morning. So they pause the movie, they go to the front, they check out the window, and they see silhouettes of children in their front yard during this heavy snowfall. So the girlfriend's very concerned. She goes to the front door, opens it. She's greeted by the cold, snow, the singing, and she yells out to the kids saying, "Hey, y'all need to come inside. We'll call your parents. You should not be outside right now." After she screams that, the children, their eyes, they glow bright green. And the girlfriend gets this awful feeling in her stomach that she shouldn't have said that. So she slams the door, and when she slams the door, the silhouettes disappear, also the glowing eyes, but the singing continues, and it gets closer and louder, where it's like on the front porch. And then that choir slowly transitions and distorts to horrific, demonic chants and yells. And not only is it outside, but now it's inside, so it's like all encompassing. So the couple, they run to their bedroom door. Out of reflex, they shut it. The boyfriend gets his firearm, points it at the door while the girlfriend's behind him. And this crescendo of horror goes on for about a minute. Then it suddenly stops, and this eerie silence fills the room. So silent that they can't even hear the snow outside. And so the couple's talking to each other, and the boyfriend's like, "Hey, we're gonna have to go out eventually, so I'm gonna do a search. You watch my 6. So they slowly open the bedroom door, check every room, every closet. They don't find anybody. They make their way to the front. They look outside the window and they see impressions in the snow, not of kids' snow boots, but instead they see hooves and chicken feet. Happy Christmas, Harry.
Spirits, all I gotta say is Merry Christmas! Brother, Merry Christmas! They don't understand the thing that I want for Christmas!
Brother, Merry Christmas. They don't understand the things I want for Christmas. All my brothers, Charlie, brother, Merry Christmas. Brother, Merry Christmas. Brother, Merry Christmas.
Look
all my brothers, Charlie, brother, Merry Christmas.
What the fuck?
Christmas. Cozy, right? Twinkling lights, hot cocoa, gift giving. But historically, winter holidays were a little creepy /
chaotic.
Welcome back to Lipstick and Lore. My name is Hannah. We're a little girly, we're a little weird. So if you like that kind of content, you'll like it here. Hit that follow and let's get into today's lore. Krampus, a horned, fluffy, demonic looking figure from Alpine folklore. Mostly Austria and Germany, but his energy spread across Central Europe. He shows up during Krampenschaft, early December, basically a sanctioned night of chaos. People would dress as demons, strap on chains and bells, light torches, and parade through towns. Like, imagine your local holiday parade, but everyone's
literally trying to scare you straight.
Now, Krampus himself is half goat, half demon, horns, claws, wild fur, basically winter anxiety incarnate, okay? The shadowy, feral side of Christmas that no one talks about. And honestly, I don't blame them. And get this, the church hated him. I mean, obviously. They called him too pagan, too chaotic, too Krampusy for the holiday season. People loved him anyway, and the tradition stuck. Over time, Krampus became less about pure chaos and more of a theatrical spectacle. Towns still hold Krampus parades where adults dress up as him, ringing bells and growling at the crowd, which honestly is a lot more fun than a silent night. So here's the thing. While Santa symbolizes order, generosity, and warm fuzzy vibes, Krampus represents the other side. Chaos, fear, and the acknowledgement that even in bright, twinkly times, darkness is never far. And maybe that's why people still can't get enough of him, because a little darkness makes the light feel cozier. Or maybe it just makes Christmas feel a lot weirder than it is. And honestly, every holiday could use a little Krampus energy. That was all for today's lore. Let me know what y'all thought about this one in the comments and leave your suggestions below. The lip combo today, guys, is a new favorite. It is the NYX Fat Slick Click Oil Stick. This is the shade No Filter Needed. It's just a beautiful natural shine. All right, that's everything. See you on the next video. Bye.
My skin is turning yellow, so I'm gonna do my makeup to cover it up and ignore the fact that I probably have an underlying health issue that I need to go get checked out, but I have no money and no insurance, so yeah, let's just do our makeup and cover it up. Also, I'm gonna tell you a really scary story time about something that I remember when I was 6 years old. Just realized that I'm all out of foundation, so I can't do a full beat today. That's okay. We're gonna do the eyes. Okay, so let's take it back. Take it back, okay. Whoa. Not the table. Let's not take the table back. Okay. No, okay, so let's take it back to when I was 6 years old. So it was Christmas morning, or like Christmas Eve night. Like, everybody was sleeping, but 6-year-old me was like trying my hardest to stay awake so that I could see Santa Claus. I wanted to catch him in the act. I was like, I'm gonna be the first kid on this earth that sees Santa Claus. You know, little kids. So I'm like sitting up, waiting to hear a noise, like almost falling asleep, when I hear like a slight kind of shuffling noise coming from the living room. So I'm like, oh fuck, it's Santa. Now is my time to shine. I'm gonna go see him. So I'm super fucking excited. I run to my door, spring out of bed as fast as I can, and I go and I kind of peek around my door frame, whatever. And the first thing I notice is the green glow of the Christmas tree, which is normal for my house. Like, my family used to always turn the Christmas tree lights to green at night. I think it was to match the stockings because my mom had like a green kind of theme for her stockings. Not just stockings, but like she had like a theme for every room, like a color theme for every room, and the color theme for the living room was green. Not that that matters. Actually, it does kind of matter. Well, I remember just thinking like, how magical is my house? And like, you know, my little 6-year-old brain just being so grateful that my mom was the type of mom to like set up the house so nice for Santa's arrival. And I just remember right as I was thinking that is when I saw something from my chimney, aka the fireplace, which was like directly in view of my room, in the hallway of everybody's room, basically. basically. As the guy, like, finally got out from the, chimney, I noticed that he was green. And thinking back on it now, I'm pretty sure it definitely was. It absolutely was the glow of the green lights, like, reflecting off of his outfit. I'm pretty sure he was wearing all black or something like that. Obviously, he was trying to rob our fucking house. I watched this guy as he is literally taking out a pillowcase and fucking going under my tree, going under our family's tree and stuffing up his fucking shit with all of our presents. I was like, yo, that's the fucking Grinch guy. The Grinch is in my house. No way. I was floored. I think that was like the first year that my mom showed me the Grinch movie, like How the Grinch Stole Christmas. The real one, like the real people one, like the one where he actually looked really scary. And so I was really thinking, like, this was it. He's gonna steal the presents, he's gonna steal the tree, he's gonna steal us, and he's just gonna take off, and we're not gonna have a Christmas. So at that point, I froze, and I'm standing in the doorway staring at him doing this, tears welling up in my eyes. I didn't know what to do. I thought Christmas was over. As if it was like a Christmas miracle, a miracle from Santa Claus himself. The guy, the Grinch, stepped on the only loose floorboard in our living room, and it creaked so fucking loudly that it woke up my dog that was sleeping in my parents' bedroom, and she went ballistic. She went absolutely fucking insane, which then woke up my whole family. And thankfully my stepdad and the dog ran out of the bedroom. This is like what I remember in my brain. Okay, I was 6, so it's kind of jumbled for me, but I remember like seeing the door of their bedroom bust open and the dog flew out first. Then my stepdad ran out behind the dog, and oh my God, it scared me so bad that was when I like hop, skipped, and jumped back into my bed. I got some bravery back and I ran back over to my door frame and I peeked around to see like how this was gonna go down, what was gonna happen, if he was going to catch the Grinch, if we were gonna get if Christmas was gonna be saved. But I never got to really see anything except for the fact that my stepdad had fucking like intercepted the man. I'm pretty sure he had him in his grip, and that's all I saw. That's all I saw, because my mom came out of the bedroom, realized that I was awake and watching the situation go down. So she ran out of her bedroom, grabbed me, threw me in her room, locked me in her bedroom, ran back out, went into my brother's room, grabbed my brother, ran back into her room, locked us all in there. And that's pretty much all I know about the situation. Because, like I said, I was 6 years old. They kept all of that from me. I wasn't supposed to know any of it. The cops were called, and the guy did get arrested because my dad ended up detaining him in the house until the police got there, and we did get all of our presents back. So Christmas was not stolen by the Grinch, and I was really happy about that. And I don't know why I didn't tell my mom that I saw the guy come in, because I just didn't want her to either not believe me or freak out even more. Plus, I was just happy that we got to have a relatively normal Christmas after that. And then I pretty much forgot about it for the rest of the day until I was older. I don't know, it was fucking scary. Also, this is not my best look. This is not my best job. I'm pretty concerned about my yellow skin. Why is my skin turning yellow?
Do not watch this if you're a kid. Do not watch this if you don't want me to ruin your Christmas spirit. I've warned you, not my fault. What I'm about to tell you is pretty messed up, but still a very popular conspiracy theory, legend, whatever you want to call it. This video is for entertainment purposes only, please and thank you. Is Santa actually Satan? Yes, you heard it right, that's the theory. The image of Santa, that is. It is believed that this image, this character, was created to take everyone's attention away from the real meaning of Christmas, which is the birth of Jesus Christ. But who would want to do that? The words Santa and Satan both have the same letters. All you gotta do is mix them up a little, and they're the same damn thing. What color does the devil love? Now, what color does Santa love? Now, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of Christmas? Especially kids. Ta-da! Santa Claus, gifts. Not this, the birth of Jesus Christ, at least for most people. So, mission accomplished, Mr. S. Also, what's up with the whole, he sees you when you sleep, he knows when you're awake? I mean, seriously, how creepy is that? If you really think about it, you know, what does the devil like so very much? Well, lots of things, but one of them being greed. And what is Christmas all about these days? Getting stuff. As many gifts as possible. This man is supposed to come into your house in the middle of the night when everybody's asleep, which is usually around 1 or 3 a.m. Creepy times, don't you think? I don't know, y'all. This is just a theory, obviously. Do I believe it? No. Nobody's gonna ruin Christmas for me. I just like how everything has a spooky side to it.
Hope you enjoyed tonight's stories. Let me know in the comments below which was your fave. Good night, and stay eerie.